You're listening to In the Pod, Soybean Updates, a weekly trek into the latest soybean information from NDSU Extension. Even though harvest is in full swing, weed control in soybean is needed. According to Joe Ikley, NDSU Extension weed control specialist, soybean weed management extends into the next season. Joe, let's talk about fall applications. What needs to be done?
Yeah, so usually we're making a herbicide application in the fall to go after either some perennial weeds that are in that field, winter annual weeds in that field, or we're trying to put a residual herbicide down to try and get some early weeds next spring. So things like kochia and wild oat, we can often do a pretty good job getting a fall herbicide down to get those first couple flushes in the spring.
How important is the burndown application?
Yeah, so for the burndowns, this is primarily going after no-till production. If you have winter annual weeds like horseweed or narrowleaf hawksbeard, fall is the best time to spray to control those weeds. It's generally easier to kill them this time of year than in the spring after they overwinter. The other issue will be with perennial weeds, so things like Canada thistle or foxtail barley. Fall is often the best time to get those too. Weeds are currently translocating, and we can get a herbicide like glyphosate on, and it's going to go down into the root system and kill the plants more thoroughly. So in general, October is the time we target for those perennial weeds like Canada thistle, just generally a good month for us to get that application made.
What about applications for next spring? What are some of the guidelines?
Yep, and so that often becomes kind of a balancing act if you're trying to do everything at once. And it may not work out in everyone's favor to get your perennial weeds and get that residual herbicide down. In general, with that residual herbicide in the spring, we want that on as late as possible because we don't want it to start degrading this fall still. We want to basically lock in over the winter and then start degrading next spring. Generally, we kind of follow the anhydrous rules for nitrogen, so people just kind of know you need soil at 50 degrees or colder to start putting your nitrogen on. And that's what I prefer for the fall residual herbicide too, because less degradation is going to occur at those colder temperatures. So at this point in the month, most of the state is close to that. Still plenty of time left basically between now and when the ground freezes. It's always variable for us, but generally we're about at that point in time where we're getting more comfortable to apply those spring residual applications now.
Joe, what else can be done at this time of the year to battle weeds?
So the other thing I'm just pointing out to people, this is still often one of our more important times of the year for pigweed identification. Specifically, Palmer amaranth. We've had a couple sightings in the western part of the state the last few weeks. And waterhemp is continuing to spread. So finding a lot more waterhemp in the western part of the state as well. So generally, if you're in the combine or doing other field activities and see a suspicious pigweed, now is the time to act and get it properly identified so you know what you're dealing with in that field next year.
Are we talking about identifying for ourselves, or should some of this be reported?
For me, you definitely want to identify for yourself because you'll be battling that weed next year. Palmer amaranth is a noxious weed at the state level, so we do want to get those reported and properly documented and identified so the Department of Ag can track that and try and monitor those populations.
Thanks, Joe. Our guest has been Joe Ikley, NDSU Extension Weed Control Specialist. You're listening to In the Pod, Soybean Updates, a weekly trek into the latest soybean information from NDSU Extension, supported by the North Dakota Soybean Council.